Hello, welcome. Happy Monday. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In the top story, the territory's Emergency Response Authority and its armed force have been preparing for a major national response drill entitled Vigilant Guard. And for over 2 years, this was taking place. Vigilant Guard is coordinated by the U.S. Northern Command, which is a Homeland Defense civil support and security military operation that defends and secures the United States and its interests. Well, early this morning, the boat sirens on land and alerts on mobile phone were activated as part of the full-scale disaster simulation exercise. Stephanie Brown reports.
The Virgin Islands Territorial Emergency Management Agency began the territory's full-scale National Emergency Response exercise today, along with the National Guard. At 7:45 this morning, many residents in the territory received an emergency alert on their mobile phones, informing that the emergency sirens would be tested at 8 a.m. today. In mid-April of this year, Vitima began the installation of 20 new outdoor sirens territory-wide. These sirens assist Vitima in broadcasting emergency alerts. As part of the 2017 Vigilant Guard exercises, the sirens were activated today at 8 a.m. and a pre-recorded message, "Test," was sounded off.
This is a test. This is only a test.
In a real-world simulation, the governor and the executive emergency response team held a sort of mock press conference as part of the exercises, which deals with the scenario of a 7.5 magnitude earthquake hitting the Virgin Islands that generates a tsunami. Reportedly, over 1,000 individuals that include soldiers from the National Guard, other military branches, and local federal emergency responders will participate in the Vigilant Guard Virgin Islands exercises that will occur from today until May 19th.
You may see a flurry of activity involving military personnel and first responders. My fellow Virgin Islanders, there will be no need for alarm. This is only an exercise, but an important one. I am Ken Knapp, and this is your government building partnership for a stronger and more resilient community.
For News 2, I'm Stephanie Shalana Brown.
Now, Vitima is inviting the community to drive through its PODs, public distribution sites, between 10 a.m. and noon on Tuesday. It's at the Reinhold Jackson Complex in Estate Wim St. Croix. On Wednesday, it's at the north section of the Four Winds Plaza on St. Thomas. Those who drive through the PODs will receive an eco bag filled with disaster preparedness information, water, and snacks. As part of the exercise scenario, again, a 7.5 magnitude earthquake occurs in the Anegada Trench, which generates a tsunami that severely impacts the island of St. Thomas and causes moderate damage on St. Croix. Again, just a test. We'll turn to our crime reports. Police say on Sunday, May 14th at approximately 12:16 a.m., the 911 emergency call center received a call in reference to a male victim who was shot multiple times to the body. The victim was transported by private vehicle to the Roy Lesher Schneider Medical Center. 23-year-old Jeffrey Xavier was pronounced dead at the hospital by the medical staff on duty. Preliminary investigation revealed it happened in the Contant area. Javier was on his way home when someone shot him multiple times. Major Crime Unit is investigating this incident and all other crimes. Please call the number there, 340-774-2211. Crime Stoppers VI at 1-800-222-TIPS or 911. Also, police report on Sunday, May 14th at 12:57 a.m. The Criminal Investigation Bureau was notified in reference to 2 gunshot victims at the Juan F. Louis Hospital emergency room. Upon the investigators' arrival, they observed both men with gunshot wounds to various parts of the body. One victim was interviewed and stated that he had been in the road and doesn't know who shot him, and he has no problems with anyone. The other victim could not provide any information pertaining to this incident. Again, this incident is under investigation by the Criminal Investigations Bureau. You can call 340-778-2211. Crime Stoppers VI, 1-800-222-TIPS or 911. Well, it is Police Week in the Virgin Islands, and National Police Week began in 1962 when President John F. Kennedy designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and the week that it falls on as Police Week. This week, the Virgin Islands Police Department in both districts will have daily events at various locations throughout the community. On Tuesday in St. Thomas at the Mariel Newton Command Show and Tell Health Expo that will be held at Alvin McBean Park at 9:30 a.m. There will be a health screening by the Department of Human Services, as well as a show and tell by the VIPD K9 Unit, the Forensics Unit, the Bomb Unit, Highway Safety, and the VI Fire Service. In St. Croix, the Ann Schneider Command will have an open house at 11 a.m. and it's movie night at the Caribbean Cinema. Well, Senator Dwayne DeGraff recognizes Police Week and is encouraging residents to show appreciation to the hardworking police officers and their family. He said, having spent most of his adult life as a police officer, he understands the demands and rigors that our men and women in blue face each day, some even giving the ultimate sacrifice of their own lives. The former Deputy Chief of Police said, I take this time to commend them for their dedication and commitment as they continue to protect and serve our community. He said, right here in the territory, we have lost several of our own local sons in the line of duty. He said the task is not an easy one, and we must, as a community, show respect and appreciation to our dedicated police officer. He said, I commend the VI Police Department for all they do in trying to keep the peace and safety in our community. While the Committee on Health, Hospitals, and Human Services, they received testimonies on two bills, which included Bill number 32-0038, which is an act providing for the acceptance of a real ID as a valid form of identification for various senior citizens, and Bill number 32-0048, which was proposed by Senator Narida Rivera O'Reilly, requiring the board of the Wanaflui Hospital to solicit proposals for the selection of a third-party management company or health system to manage the hospital. Senators on the floor spoke about the current state of the Wanaflui Hospital and the potential of medical tourism in the territory. Here's more.
A brand new hospital doesn't fix it, because if I buy a brand new car and I still put the same driver that doesn't know how to drive it or doesn't take care of it, I'll have a broken car in no time.
We have the ability to turn this, and I hate to use that phrase, but we can turn our hospital into the next Cleveland Clinic. And instead of having all those individuals that come from the Eastern Caribbean island to Florida, they come here. And as a matter of fact, there are a couple of entities right now that are doing that.
Be sure to count on 2 to keep you updated. Well, the Department of Health is reminding you about their mental health awareness recognition, and the next workshop coming up in recognition is on pornification. The pornification of the nation and the world, they say, is an epidemic that is filtering into our lives, shaping our brains, influencing our thinking and behaviors in ways that we may be unaware of. Society has become desensitized by the symbols that have become part of our daily living. They say explicit imagery that once caused mothers to shield the eyes of their children while standing in line at the supermarket has now become unmanageable. The combination of sexual content through social media, literature, and advertising has become normalized. Now, this presentation will demonstrate how pornography is impacting society, our mental health, our views about love, attraction, connectedness, and our physical health. Now, that one will be held on St. Croix, May 16, 10 to 12 at the Charles Howard Room 1016, and then on St. Thomas, May 23rd, 10 to 12 at the Department of Education's video conference room. Here's an update from WAPA. They say electric feeders experience service interruptions on both St. Thomas and St. Croix. Here's an update from WAPA's spokesperson, John Greer, with more.
Both the Estate Richmond Power Plant on St. Croix and the Randolph-Harley Power Plant on St. Thomas experienced tripped generating units on Monday, triggering electric service interruptions in the two island districts. 8 electrical feeders on St. Croix fell offline at about 10:45 Monday morning, affecting more than 15,000 customers when Unit 17 tripped. Plant personnel brought Unit 20 online, and once the power generation capability at the plant had been stabilized, service was restored to all customers. All feeders are back online on St. Croix shortly after midday. Later in the afternoon on St. Thomas at about 2:30, Unit 18 tripped, causing 9 feeders to fall offline, affecting service to just over 16,000 customers. 2 feeders were initially restored, and once Unit 25 completed its scheduled maintenance and was returned to service, all feeders were restored. Full power restoration was experienced in the St. Thomas-St. John district at 4:30 this afternoon. Presently, Units 15, 25, and 26 are powering the St. Thomas-St. John district. Unit 23 is preparing to undergo maintenance overhaul and conversion to LPG. Unit 14 has been sidelined temporarily, awaiting a replacement part, and Unit 18, the unit that tripped on Monday afternoon, is expected to remain offline until plant personnel have identified the factors which contributed to the unit tripping offline earlier today. On St. Croix, plant personnel will also troubleshoot the cause of Unit 17 falling offline on Monday morning.
Also, WAPA distribution crews were making some emergency repairs to a leaking main in Estate Thomas. About 35 customers on the Middle Road in Estate Thomas on the hillside behind the former Value Foods. They experienced potable water service interruption while repairs were underway. Potable water service was restored around 2:30 p.m. Today. Well, the White House is hoping to move forward this week and focus on President Trump's first international trip, a long, complicated, and important trip that begins Friday with his departure for Saudi Arabia. Instead, the focus continues to be centered on the firing of FBI Director James Comey. Kristen Holmes has an update.
While the firing of FBI Director James Comey was swift and abrupt, hiring his replacement may require a lot more effort.
The nominee should be not a partisan politician.
The search for the top position underway. At least 8 candidates interviewed by Attorney General Jeff Sessions over the weekend. The president saying an announcement could come as early as this week.
Moving rapidly.
Despite efforts from the move forward, the fallout from the firing continues to grow. The former director of national intelligence saying U.S. institutions were under attack by President Trump.
The developments of the past week, very bothersome, very disturbing to me.
And lawmakers on both sides expressing concern over a tweet from President Trump threatening James Comey and indicating there may be secret tapes of their conversation.
If there are any tapes of this conversation, they need to be turned over. I doubt if there are, but we need to clear the air.
Well, first of all, if there are tapes, the president should turn them over immediately, of course. To destroy them would be a violation of law.
Some Democrats saying they will not confirm a new FBI director until a special prosecutor is assigned to the investigation into possible collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia, after the president said this about his firing of Comey.
When I decided to just do it, I said to myself, I said, you know, this Russia thing with Trump and Russia is a made-up story.
In Washington, I'm Kristen Holmes.
And keeping our eye on the economy, we're another step closer to self-driving cars on some U.S. streets. Waymo and Lyft say they're working together to introduce pilots of fully autonomous vehicles. Waymo is global leader in software that can run a self-driving car. It is now ramping up its fleet of self-driving minivans, about 500 driving cars. The Waymo deal with Lyft would open access to millions of customers that use the Lyft app to catch a ride. Lyft customers in Phoenix could be the first to experience the new partnership. Lyft has been looking for a way to stay relevant once self-driving cars become commonplace. The partnership also takes aim at rideshare giant Uber. Well, the next time you go to McDonald's, you're going to see something new on the menu: upscale gourmet sandwiches. The restaurant is now offering 3 new sandwiches in its signature crafted recipe selection. They feature premium ingredients like pico guacamole and maple bacon Dijon. The items are a little more expensive, but the president of McDonald's says the move is an effort to appeal to millennial customers who are seeking new taste experiences. Earlier this month, McDonald's advertised a new French fry utensil it called the fork to pick up drippings from the new signature sandwiches. Here's a look at the stock market watch. There we can see the Dow up 85, NASDAQ 28. S&P 500 up at 11. Coming up on News 2, we have much more straight ahead, including some update on the road projects underway. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Public Works Commissioner Gustav James on Friday said the Main Street Enhancement Project will be extended at least for another year. The $8.4 million project was supposed to be completed by June 27th at the latest, but delays, he says, have pushed the date back. James said there were delays that couldn't be controlled. The department is now looking at a year from now, but if Tip Top Construction, who is the contractor for the project, cannot get it done, they will look into the company's construction bond in order to finish the job. Well, meanwhile, bad weather and rain has delayed the road construction project on Hall Bay Road, but the project should be completed by mid-July, he says. The $412,600 project is intended to replace a collapsing retaining wall that held the roadbed in place. The wall was damaged during Tropical Storm Otto in 2010. Well, the Department of Education celebrated National Teacher Appreciation Week from May 8th to the 12th. The week's recognition has ended, but we wanted to showcase some more of the teachers and share some more of the short video clips of some of the territory's top teachers who identified in October 2016. Here's more.
I'm a product of the public school system from Head Start right up until high school. I even attended and graduated from the University of the Virgin Islands with my BA in elementary education. So I take what I learn or grew up learning and I put that into my classroom setting to help me be able to educate, help me to be able to teach, help me to be able to meet the standards that's required, that the students are required to meet. And I just work with what I know. And then what I don't know, I step out of the classroom and I ask my colleagues. I communicate, I collaborate, I share, I research to get to know what I need to know to be more effective as an instructor.
I have been teaching for 25 years. 16 of my most recent is in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I strongly believe that children learn through experimentation and discovery. As much as possible, I seek to create an environment where students will use deductive and inductive reasoning to provide examples or arrive at a definition of a concept. I believe that education is a lifelong process. Therefore, teaching thinking and reasoning skills are critical aspects I advocate. I promote this in my room by asking many how and why questions. I allow my students to come up with the reason for their answers and to respectfully disagree with others.
Again, congrats to our teachers doing a wonderful job there. Governor Kenneth Mapp said he recognized at the UVI commencement ceremonies the wealth of local talent available, and as a result, the Department of Education is accepting applications for all areas: teachers, school nurses, IT technicians, and business positions. New graduates are encouraged to apply at Human Resources on St. Thomas and on St. Croix Saturday, May 20th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. For more information, you can call 340-774-0100 on St. Thomas and 340-773-1095 on St. Croix. Well, last week, Wednesday, the USVI Department of Tourism, in celebration of National Tourism Week, they held some customer service training. The training was open to the entire community and was held at Sugar Bay Beach Resort. It was presented by the Virgin Islands Etiquette and Leadership Institute. General employees and taxi operators, they took advantage of the refresher course. Almost 300 were in attendance during this session. Again, last week at the Sugar Bay Resort and Spa. Wonderful job there. Well, the Department of Education's VI Youth Ensemble, they're joining local songstress Lorna Freeman for a Mother's Day jazz event. It's Jazz with a Twist. That's on Monday, this evening actually, from 6:30 to 8:30, so you can still catch it at the Chill Station located in Market Square. The VI Youth Ensemble consists of students from St. Croix and St. Thomas, along with members and supporters of the United Jazz Foundation. which is a nonprofit organization that runs the Mentoring Through the Arts of Music program in the VI public schools. Grammy Award-winning drummer and native U.S. Virgin Islander Dion Parson leads that foundation, so be sure to check that out. Stick around, your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
Off with a big picture here across the Caribbean, and you can see where we have a frontal boundary draped across Cuba, also Hispaniola, but off to the east here around the Virgin Islands, you're going to stay mainly in the dry sector. This system will be staying northward, and all we're seeing is an easterly flow, mostly dry air, but we'll have those brief passing trade wind showers. So for tonight, we'll have an overnight low of 78 degrees, perhaps a brief shower passing through in some locations. Some locations missed, and then for tomorrow in St. John, 85 degrees. There could be a brief passing shower or two around the area. Otherwise, we have a mixture of sun and clouds. 85 in St. John, St. Thomas also topping out at 85 degrees. We have a mixture of clouds and sunshine, a brief passing shower or two in the area. And in St. Croix, perhaps a shower in spots, most of the time dry with a temperature of 87 degrees. The marine forecast, the waves are 3 to 5 feet on the Atlantic side with an easterly wind of 10 to 15 knots. And on the Caribbean side, waves are 2 to 4 feet, and we have an easterly wind at 10 to 15 knots. Looking through the forecast period, it's a mostly dry forecast for much of the time. There's a lot of dry air in place to the east, and that's what's affecting us. There could be a brief shower or two around for your Tuesday. Again, most places will be dry. It'll look dry most of the time here with only just a spotty shower or two around Wednesday. Perhaps a shower on Thursday, but in general, we're looking at a partly to mostly sunny sky on Thursday. Friday, we'll see a couple of spotty showers around the area, clouds and sun, and then we have some sunshine on your Saturday, and we could see a brief shower with a high temperature of 85 degrees. Sandy?
Thanks for that. Time for our News 2 weather picture there by Janai Aurelian of Ricardo Richards Elementary School, giving us some nice weather to look forward to as we kick off a brand new week. Janai, thank you for your submission there. Send us your News 2 weather picture to the address on the screen, and tune in. You never know when your picture will be featured. Send it to the address right there. Include your name, age, school, and a brief description of your work of art. That is all for this edition. We'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest. I'm Sandra Gaman Singh. We'll see you next time.